Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of The Grandstand here on the Ohio Education Network. I am, as always, your host, AR the Ohio Patriot. And for today's episode, we're going to talk about Democrats that can't answer simple questions. So, I was on Twitter about probably 15 minutes ago or so, and noticed that Kay Ivey's name was trending in the bar there. Obviously, that would make sense with her being the Alabama governor and what happened there in Alabama in the last, 14, 15 hours, give or take now. And I was like, okay, let's see what people were saying about it and stuff, because I assumed a lot of it was talking about that Sweet 16 party, stuff like that, and people getting shot at and whatnot. And of course there was. And of course it was mostly a bunch of fucking Democrat slash leftist people who were giving shit to Kay Ivey and the Republican Party and everything else like that about, like, oh, this is all on you. You caused this with constitutional carry and a bunch of other stuff for some reason. And it's like, well, first of all, pretty sure that when Kay Ivey signed constitutional carry into law there, it was for anyone 21 and over. And even if it was people 18 and over for that matter, you still have to be 18 to actually constitutional carry in the state of Alabama then, which I'm pretty sure that these killers were not. So, anyway, even if they were, they already had felonies. And by the way, when you actually look at constitutional carry legislation across the board in every single state that's in right now, you can't have a felony record to actually be able to legally carry constitutionally. So, yeah, it's like all that shit's out the window pretty much. But anyway, so I got into a back and forth with this guy that went by the name Ford here, who was trying to make claims that, according to him anyway, this is from, by the way, what's funny to me too is these people can never come up with like basic stats for like the current year, or like maybe not even current year, but like for the past year is what it is. Because they know if they do, it will show that once places that get constitutional carry, etc., or any kind of like pro 2A legislation on the books and stuff, you start seeing that crime rate trend down, is what it is. So what they do is they have to go back, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, whatever it is, to get bullshit stats from, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, whatever it is, to basically try to prove their BS point, which is nothing more than them gaslighting the American people and anybody that looks at their bullshit tweets and is like, oh, yeah, this guy's totally telling the truth. Like, oh my God, look at this crime rate from like 5 years ago. That has completely changed since then, by the way. But, anywho, so yeah, we basically have, shit, sorry, my fucking, thought I had pulled it up, but apparently I did not. Okay, there it is. Yeah, so you have this Ford guy saying, quote, Alabama has the fifth highest in gun-related deaths. Governor Kay Ivey is soft on crime. And he was talking about Ivey saying, this morning I agree with the people of Dadeville and my fellow Alabamians. Violent crime has no place in our state, and we are staying closely updated by law enforcement as details emerge. And my response to this guy was, and how many of those, meaning the gun deaths, are by suicide, and how many are from Democrat-run major cities? Meaning, obviously, if you're going to be like Huntsville or Mobile or whatever the case be, places like that, the major cities of Alabama, like how many of those are run by Democrats? And what this fucking guy said back to me that was completely not even the answer to the question I was asking was this bullshit right here, which was, and I quote, the Alabama governor and controlling government body are Republicans. Democrats hold just a few mayor spots. The governor is responsible for statewide crime. No, they're not, you fucking idiot. How can you sit there and claim that one person being the governor of a state is responsible for all the crime in that state when literally almost 100% of these gun crimes are happening in Democrat-run cities across this fucking country? It's not the rural areas going out and shooting people in record numbers, dude. It's the fucking, specifically inner city ghettos that are killing each other in record numbers is what it actually is. But nobody wants to talk about that, dude. What the problem is. That's why I will, honestly. And then the problem with that as well is that because you're trying to blame the Republican Party for shit that is either Democrat problems or not even politically affiliated at all for that matter, it's just, crimes based on criminality is what it is, dude, across this country. It's just fucking ridiculous, dude. And you guys know what I mean by I say that. Obviously, I'm not going to go into details any more than that. But the whole point is it's just fucking stupid that he's sitting there trying to be like, oh, but they only, like, okay, but that's the thing though, right? Like you're saying, okay, they only hold a few mayor spots. Okay, but how many is that though? How many is that? And what are the fuck, where exactly are they at? Like, that's the question I'm asking the man. And he can't even answer that simple question, what it is. So I responded back to him again, and I said, and I quote, "You still didn't answer my question. The question asked was how many of those firearms deaths are by suicide," meaning his 2019 stat, "and how many happened in Alabama major cities run by Democrat mayors." We do have a couple things in my sidebar there, so he might have got back to me now about that. Okay. Let's see. Did he send back anything? Okay. No, I didn't send anything back. This other guy, this Matthew guy, fucking got back at me though. So this dipshit Matthew, by the way, is trying to claim there was like 167 something fucking mass shootings this year, which is absolute bullshit stats, by the way. I called him out, and he's basically saying, "Oh, well, look at all these ones that happened yesterday." It's like, yeah, let's see. Dadeville, Alabama, Louisville, Kentucky, Los Angeles, California, Detroit, Michigan. Who else notices a pattern there? Maybe it's all Democrat-run shitholes and hell pockets? That's what I see right there, motherfucker. So, because I looked into Dadeville, by the way, and yeah, it was the first black mayor that they had this past couple of years now that runs that place, dude. Not to mention when you actually look at the other major cities of Alabama, specifically going along the thing I pulled up when I looked at major cities in Alabama here. This is basically what popped up for me. So you got Montgomery, Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama, Auburn, Mobile, Huntsville, Tuscaloosa. I looked into the first 6 there. What I found was Montgomery and Birmingham are both black Democrat mayors. Auburn is a white guy who doesn't actually have political affiliation next to his name, and it's really hard to find. That's the problem. I'm not sure exactly what he is. He probably is a Democrat for all we know, but who the hell knows. Mobile is a Republican, old white guy, and so is Huntsville. And then I think Tuscaloosa was another Democrat who I think might have been white. But yeah, that's the problem, though, right? Like, you have these major cities like that, and when you actually look at the crime statistics for the state of Alabama there, dude, like, where is all this crime coming from? Where is all this, firearms-related crime coming from? It's the Democrat-run cities in those fucking states, dude. It's just like here in Ohio. You have Cincinnati, Cleveland, Columbus, Dayton, Toledo, Akron, and Canton. And out of those 7, every single run is run by a Democrat, dude. Every single one of the 7 is run by Democrats. Whether it be Democrat mayors or whether it be Democrat city councils. And they are also the highest crime rate places in the state of Ohio right now. The problem is you have people out there right now, specifically down in Columbus, that piece of shit Andrew Grantham. I'm going to try to sue her pretty soon is what it is. If I can get the money together for a lawyer and stuff like that for the Magban thing going on there in July 1st. That son of a bitch was straight up lying on Twitter the other day about it and sitting there trying to claim, oh, crime rate is going down in Columbus. No, it's not, dumbass. I was literally on Reddit 3 days ago, and you had people talking about how car break-ins, they walked out of their fucking house at 5:30 in the morning. There's 8 fucking people scattering because they're trying to break into vehicles. And you're sitting there trying to tell me that crime rate's going down in the city? Fuck you, dude. You are a gaslighting piece of shit, Andrew Ginther. And I'm calling your bitch ass out on it, asshole. And again, it goes back to what I said earlier with the people, though, man. You have these people that are just straight liars, is what it is, dude. And what's funny to me, right, is that even going back and talking about the 2 guys that were trying to reply to me, there is what it was, that Matthew guy and then that K's guy who was trying to claim like the amount of people dead or whatever there, amount of people shot or whatever it is there. So in the first place, right, let's talk about mass shootings in this country specifically. So the definition of a mass shooting has changed multiple times in the past, I think like 10 years or so, give or take, because what it used to be was it had to be 4 or more dead to qualify as a mass shooting. And it also had to be like, I think several other people on top of that wounded or something. And now it's basically anywhere from like I think basically it went from it was 4 more dead to 4 more shot to 3 or more shot to now 3 or more shot, including the killer. It's like, okay, so how the fuck does that make any sense, dude? Well, let's go ahead and see the BS numbers that they put out there. Let's see. So we got Dadeville was supposedly 6 dead and 20 injured, which we don't actually have that as a stat yet because that is 4 dead. And then he says Louisville, 2 dead and 4 injured. That doesn't qualify as a mass shooting. Los Angeles, 1 dead, 3 injured. Doesn't qualify as a mass shooting based on the old stat. And Detroit, 1 dead, 3 injured. Again, doesn't qualify. So you have 1 out of 4 that actually qualifies, technically speaking, in that one, which would be the Dadeville one. And that's only because I can actually tell you right now there's at least 4 dead in that. There hasn't been proven that there's 6 yet, but there is 4 dead. So that is only one of those 4 actually qualifies as a quote unquote mass shooting, dude. So, but yeah, it's a bunch of shit, dude, and it's a bunch of lies. And I'm gonna call him out on that one. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to call him out on that one, and I think I'm just going to block this guy because, again, I don't really feel like having this conversation, or maybe I'll just mute the fucking conversation. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I think I'll just mute it for that being the case. Like, I just don't get any like, he can just come back at me or whatever the case be. So, actually, no, fuck it. I'm just going to block his ass. Again, I don't really feel like dealing with these fucking people anymore, dude, because they're all idiots, is what it ends up being. And the issue becomes like that kind of shit, dude. It's like, it's not, truthfully, it's not worth it to interact with these people because, again, they're brain dead, retarded morons, is what it is. They have no actual argument to back up their bullshit, and they want to come at you with fucking fake stats like that, and then sit there and act as if, oh, I totally won that fucking debate, when it's not even a debate. It's you saying, here's the amount of people that supposedly died in these events there, and then falsely claiming they're mass shootings when they're not technically mass shootings under the original definition of mass shooting. It's only when you happen to keep moving the fucking goalpost, like you leftist assholes love to fucking do all the goddamn time, that you then sit there and claim it's a mass shooting and that there was a 166 something like that happened now, or 169, whatever they want to claim it is now with them for now. But yeah, what they also never talk about, dude, is by the way, how almost every single one of those 4 that happened there in these Democrat-run cities are all fucking gang-related, dude. They're not even mass shootings. They're gang violence. They are, by definition, murder by gang members. Not everything's a fucking mass shooting, you ass clowns. In fact, most aren't. Most are gang-related fucking violence. Just like Dadeville. Dadeville is gang-related violence, dude, 100%. I can tell you that right now. Just based on the fucking first article I read this morning. That shit is gang-related. 100% down the fucking line, dude. So, anyways. It's really just a bunch of stupid bullshit is what it is, dude. I'm not going to show this, but the Clown World Twitter account put out a thing about an hour ago. It says, looters ransack gas station food market. Is that where that supposed mass shooting happened in LA yesterday? Maybe. I wonder. Or maybe it was a store owner shooting a bunch of fucking criminals. Is that what it was, maybe? That would make sense. That would make a lot of sense. Go ahead and just retweet that for later. Anyways, let's see. Is there anything else I want to talk about now? Ooh, this is actually a good thing. So we don't really want to get into all like that's the thing. We don't really want to sit here and just be negative all the time is what it is. So we're actually going to talk about something positive here in Ohio before we end this off today, which is you got Dwayne on Twitter a couple hours ago saying with expanded eligibility, more families can now take advantage of the enrichment opportunities available through the Ohio ACE program, which will help children progress through their academic growth. Ohio Department of Education, new qualifying families can receive a $1,000 credit per child for enrichment and educational activities to help accelerate learning. I might tell my brother about that one actually, from my niece and nephew. So, yeah, pretty cool, pretty cool. But we're gonna see if there's anything else here to talk about. Actually, I'll just grab that real quick, and I'm gonna save that as a thing for later. There, I'll also save that website too, just in case. But anyway, let's see where we're at now. Oh, actually, okay. So what's interesting is going back to what that guy said there in LA and stuff. So that could have easily been, by the way, relating to the whole trans terrorism stuff going on there yesterday, where you had to fucking do beating the shit out of by all these trans people who was against the drag queen story hour stuff, and the fucking LA cops just stood by and watched it happen. And I feel like, honestly, and this is something I did tweet out earlier today, was I feel like the mindset of any major city cop in this country is literally, well, they're not beating my ass, so why am I going to stop them beating your ass? Because if I stop them beating your ass, I'll probably beat my ass then, is what it is. Like, I feel like that's definitely 100% the fucking mindset of these people, dude. But, Jesus Christ. So you had, this is actually going on in Belfast, Ireland yesterday. You had a bunch of trans people there against some person who was pro-woman. It was a women's rights rally, and they were holding up a fucking trans flag poster with a picture of Vladimir Lenin on it. It's like, good Lord, man. So somehow a genocidal dictator who's been dead for decades is on your side, who probably would have killed you if he was still alive today. Like, really, people? Like, really, that's where we're going now? I feel like this is the problem with so many people in society, dude. They have no understanding of anything when it comes to history of the world at all. And it's just a sad situation all the way around. There's another one too, by the way, that we were looking at earlier, and it was from the people that okay, I'll give. I don't know if this 9mm SMG guy is actually like right wing leftist, what it is, but I just think this is kind of funny though, because you had somebody put on a thing the other day talking about Blair White, and it was versus Dylan Mulvaney, and it's like Blair White is real woman versus fake woman or whatever. In reality, they're both trans, is what it is supposedly. And well, I say that because obviously Dylan is, maybe just whatever then at this point. Like, obviously he's just was a gay dude at one point, and he's basically faking to be a woman for like a year now is what it is. But it's funny though, because it's talking about state of conservatives, and it's the Make America Great Again crowd being like, boo Dylan Mulvaney, and then being like, ooh, Blair White. This is the thing though, right? Like, look at those pictures, man, for real though. So you got Mulvaney, who in that photo specifically clearly still looks like a guy, just with the hair up, wanting to be Jackie O and stuff like that. Meanwhile, you have Blair White, who has gone through a bunch of facial reconstruction surgery, pretty sure that she's had breast implants done, et cetera, there, to make herself look feminine and like a female is what it is, dude. And that's the biggest thing when it comes to transgenderism in this country, really, is you have people, and this is why I've said this many times before, dude. I have no problem with transgender people that want to be cool and just live their lives as the opposite sex and stuff like that. My problem is the people that look like myself with a big ass beard want to fucking put on some lipstick and then be like, I'm a woman now. No, you're not, dude. No, you're not. And the biggest problem with any of that shit is it's like, this is the biggest issue I have with all that stuff. If you're going to commit fully. I will even give Dylan Mulvaney that, dude. At least that motherfucker committed fully and went like full surgeries and stuff like that for like facial stuff and whatnot. They still look very similar to what they used to look like, honestly, but like at least they did something to change their appearance, is what it was to some extent. And like I said, more to the fact, Blair White did a lot more to exchange her appearance and stuff like that. Is what it is. And it's the same thing with Buck Angel for that matter. You had that dude who, born a woman, not living their life as a man for, 3, 4, or 5 decades, whatever it is now. I think it's about 4 almost now, because I want to say it was like late 80s, early 90s, somewhere in there. So it's like at least 3-ish something. And the thing with Buck is, looking at that dude has a full fucking beard rocking and stuff like that. If I saw that person walking down the fucking street, I'd have no idea that was not a man. I'd just be like, "What's up, dude?" And they'd be like, "What's up?" And like the same thing with Blair White. If they were walking down the street, I'd be like, "What's up, dude?" And they'd be like, "What's up?" And it's not even an insult at that point, because I'll call a chick a dude is what it is, man. So now, granted, what's funny to me on that situation is obviously you got the first one being the real woman biologically, and the second one not being a real woman biologically, but presenting as such. And I think that's the biggest problem right now is you have so many people that want to, push the trans stuff like that, claim transgenderism and stuff like that, but yet not actually commit to the actual thing is what it is. Not actually go that full step to be like, I identify as this opposite sex now. I'm going to, appear as that opposite sex now. And I think it's like, I don't know if it's just based on the fact that they're just so poor that they can't do it, or they just, don't even care is what it is. Like they're just trying to push ideology is what it is. And sadly, and this is exactly why, going to something I tweeted a little bit ago here, a few hours back now, was there's a group called LGB United, and it's basically talking about a divorce from the, T's and Q's and the rest of the, alphabet community there is what it is. And it's because of the fact that they understand that this shit has gone too far. And it's unfortunately, you might as well have P for pedo at this point in there, honestly, because the fact of the matter is, you have so many fucking pedophiles that want to sit there and try to use the trans, terminology and stuff like that to push all the shit that they're pushing right now, to push these drag queen story hours, to push all that stuff like that, dude. And again, it's these same fucking Democrats that can't answer simple questions like, why do you want to be around children as a grown ass adult and doing quote unquote family friendly drag story hours? Because the real answer that they would have to give you, if they were being for real, was they are a fucking predator who wants to be around kids and have potential future prey, is what it is. And the problem is, going back to that whole thing, and what, going back to the thing a year ago and stuff like that, you have individuals who want to be pedophile enablers in this country. And there are so many of those people nowadays, dude. And what's really interesting is when you look at the Mr. Beast YouTube channel, his buddy there, that Chris guy who's now trying to claim they want to be transgender and stuff now, apparently was busted recently for having artwork where the artist was doing pedo shit. And it was like pedo drawings and stuff like that of like young kids, dude, in like anime forms and shit. And it's like, because that's what these fucking people really are in most cases, dude. They want to falsely use the transgender ideology and terminology to push their sick, disgusting agenda of pedophilia on children. Or they want to sit there and claim, I'm an ally of that shit. And again, they're pushing indoctrination on children, dude. They are permanently sterilizing an entire generation of children into their sick, disgusting behavior. And it fucking pisses me off. And it should piss everybody off too, for that matter, dude. It really, really should. And of course, you had a bunch of teens last night riding in downtown Chicago, smashing up car windows, everything else like that. Fucking nuts, dude. So, sorry, I was doing something. But yeah, this going back to what I was saying earlier though, and this is where we're gonna end off today, is what it is with this thing I was discussing with the LGB thing. So you have this LGB United group, and there was the dude who was talking about, let's see if I can find it here, his list of tweets from the other day. Okay, here we go. Yeah, this is from 4 hours ago, and then it goes into a whole bunch of other stuff here. So he said, and I quote, So I spent the weekend interacting with 17 to 21-year-olds on Twitter about the LGB/TQ plus divorce, and I learned a few things. One, youth today lack critical thinking skills. That's a given. Two, they can't formulate an argument. Their brain implodes trying to comprehend different opinions, which makes sense because, again, when you're indoctrinated with, all this shit like that from Marxism and everything else like that, rules for radicals, all that stuff like that, it makes sense why they can't form those opinions. Or if they try to formulate an argument, it's just like, oh, it doesn't make any sense from this perspective or whatever, and they're just like, no, you fucking ruined my thing, and I don't understand now, kind of thing is what it is. Because again, you're talking about people who are 17 to 21 years old, aka you don't have full frontal lobe capacity until at least 25 to 27, I believe is what it is. So, anywho, so he said those two things about him, and then this LGB United also said they know about the Holocaust. They know the Holocaust was wrong, but can't apply that to different groups and see how other groups were wrong too, i.e., communism, etc. 4, they contradict themselves often and can't understand that they're doing so. 5, they aren't actually aware of what they support. They just blindly do so. Exactly, dude. And this is what I've seen a lot from the people who are in the anti-gunner communities and stuff like that, dude, that are these people that are either working for Moms Demand Action as so-called volunteers that are teenagers and stuff like that, or they do like the Students Demand Action stuff like that, or they're part of that Idiot Hogs little group, March for Our Lives and stuff, where it's these young teenagers that have no fucking clue what the hell they're even talking about, have no idea how a gun even functions at all, and want to sit there and try to ban guns then while pushing legitimate communist bullshit as they're trying to do so is what it is. And they can't comprehend that they're actually part of the problem, not part of the solution. And this is what a problem is with our country right now, dude, and why, truthfully, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, there should not be voting rights by default at 18 years old in this country. Something else needs to change at this point. I don't care. I don't know if it's raising the voting age to 25. I don't know if it is some kind of service requirement where it would be either like, military or Habitat for Humanity building houses and stuff like that, or some kind of other civil kind of service like that as a requirement to actually have voting rights, or something along those lines. Or maybe it's just changing the education system entirely now and forcing out every indoctrinator across the board right now, banning teachers unions for life at this point, and getting rid of all these communist pieces of shit indoctrinators that are in our school systems right now, and taking back the actual school systems and doing a new educational system across the board based on the U.S. Constitution itself is what it is then. Because that's really what we have to do at this point, honestly. And I think the problem is, though, you already have some of these kids that are so indoctrinated now, dude, that they're coming up out of, the high school years and the voting age now, and they're going to default vote Democrat for at least a couple election cycles now, if not the rest of their lives is what it is, because they've been so indoctrinated into the bullshit and victim mentality and everything else like that. And it's like, again, why should they have voting rights at all at that point if they're going to be doing shit like that is what it is, man. So, yeah, I don't know what the solution is, honestly, but it's probably like a multitude of solutions at this point. But it is what it is. But anywho, so yeah, we were at 5 where they were just finally supporting the cause is what it is. Then they said 6, they don't know how to properly source or provide any evidence for their arguments. I'm guessing is what it means there. And then 7, they make assumptions on people's beliefs without taking the time to read through their tweets or understand the other's perspective before engaging in any kind of debate. Yeah, that's how the left is usually. And then what should have been 8 that they posted as number 9 here, maybe 8 was removed or something. But then they said 9, they have zero understanding of the world they live in beyond social media and memes. The education system has truly failed them. If you're a parent, you need to fix this shit real quick because the government isn't doing their job. Well, in the first place, the government should not be involved in education at all, dude. And that's like as much shit as I will give Vivek Ramaswamy for basically his lack of two-way platforms and stuff like that, and his different campaign and whatnot that he's running for president right now. The guy is spot on when he talks about doing with education, dude. When the education department specifically in the federal government. So it'd be like basically the Department of Education no longer exists as what it is. And that's how it should be anyway, dude, because really, truthfully speaking, there's not a catch-all for all 50 states in this country, dude. Hell, there's not even a catch-all for rural areas versus major cities in the country. Seriously, what works here in the outskirts of Canton where I live does not work in the city of Canton for Canton schools, dude. Or what works in some suburb outside of Columbus, Ohio, doesn't work in the city schools in Columbus, Ohio. You know, again, it goes to rural areas versus urban areas and stuff like that. And that's the problem right now. And when we're not doing the right things and doing actual trade schools in, middle schools and high schools in this country, that's a big problem right there. And that's something I've been advocating for and been running for office on platforms for at least the past 4 years now. Never actually won anything yet because, unfortunately, because of lack of funding and lack of support and stuff like that, I basically dropped out of races before even really being able to get on the ballot is what it is then. And the biggest problem is, or actually last year it was mostly censorship that stopped me from being able to actually run against that son of a bitch Shearing for the state senate then. The biggest problem is, though, is that you have things that could be changed for the better very easily, and you could have the tax dollars of the American people that are being put towards education, even public education for that matter, dude, be used in a better circumstance and actually have people want to learn. Because that's the thing. I believe truthfully, there's definitely a subsection of society of teenagers and, kids, etc., that just don't want to learn. Or they don't want to learn how you're teaching them is what it is. I believe truthfully, though, everybody wants to learn something. It's just how you are presented to learn that subject matter or whatever it is. And I think that's the biggest problem right now is that we are not presenting it to these people, across the board, how it needs to be presented for them to actually grasp it and want to actually learn something. And instead, what you have is you have a bunch of leftist assholes who have taken over the education system from the teachers' unions all the way down into the school systems, etc., who are now pushing ideology, who are now pushing indoctrination, who are now pushing fucking cult mentality legitimately under BLM monikers, under progressive pride flag monikers, transgenderism, sexual orientation, etc., as young as possible. Because why would they be doing that, mind you? Because they're fucking child molesters. Or if they're not directly child molesters, they are grooming these children for people who are. And that is the problem right now. Because they're creating future activists. And you can see that legitimately in the past 6 months or so. What happened after the whole thing in Colorado about a month ago? You had them giving kids the day off from all these major city schools so they could go to the fucking state house and protest for gun control. What happened in one of the other major cities across this country recently? You had the kids literally walking out waving BLM flags after some dude was shot by the cops. That is not education. That is fucking indoctrination. And that is communist bullshit being pushed to completely change a capitalist society into a communist nation. And that is the biggest problem right now with this country. I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm pretty sick and tired of that shit, man. So before we leave, I'm going to go ahead and jump back into some shit because that jackass guy that went by Ford responded back to me a couple times here and tried to claim about 10 minutes ago, said murder rates per capita in New York isn't even in the top 10. Look who is 8 out of 10 Republican run states. Again, but yet you don't actually mention how they're all Democrat-run cities in those states. And then said 7 out of 10 are Republican-run states. Most dangerous 2023. I would love to know where he's getting these fucking from, by the way, since he never actually mentions an actual source, evidence source, and stuff like that. And then said homicide rate per capita. And then responded back to me and said, I did give you an answer, you just didn't like it. The majority are by far Republicans that are held responsible for leadership. Homicide and suicide are 50-50. Alabama also has a higher murder rate per capita than New York or Chicago. Crime is out of control. In Illinois, not Chicago, state by state comparison. Okay, but again, that's the whole point, though, dude, right? So he wants to sit there and talk about Illinois having the crime rate or whatever, the other murder capita or whatever it is, dude. Chicago is the major city in that fucking state who has the largest gun control ever, dude. Who has every single gun control utopia that the left wants at this point, yet has murder capita, dude. You're just a fucking idiot, bro. And this proves it to us. So yeah, you're gonna get blocked, and that's what it is, because you're fucking lying, dude. You're straight up fucking lying. Then you got, let's see, who's this dumb bitch? Dr. Mary Beth McCormick. Just trying to fucking retweet shit. So okay, so what, dude? I'm gonna call bullshit on this 2023 thing too, by the way, because how the fuck is number one Alaska? First of all, you have a state in Alaska that literally has like one area of humanity in it, which is a major leftist city, by the way. The rest of it's all open space and shit, dude. Now, granted, one thing I do know about Alaska is, what does Alaska have? They have a lot of suicide in that state because people are so downtrodden because they have nothing, is what it is. And number two, New Mexico. So you got a border state. So that's probably most likely border crime in most cases in that one. Let's see. Tennessee was supposedly number three. Again, that could also be. So what's interesting to me, right? Okay. So if we list these off, Alaska, New Mexico, Tennessee, Arkansas, Arizona, which is another border state, Louisiana, Missouri, South Carolina, South Dakota, and Michigan, supposedly. How many illegals were dropped into these states in the past couple of years, dude? That's the real question. So, anyway. Just trying to figure out some stuff here then. Let's see, is there any more from this idiot, or is that the last ones? No, it looks like that was the last one. But yeah, I'm basically gonna call this guy out on his Bloomberg made up lies, and I'm gonna block his ass, because that's what it really is, dude. Like, I guarantee you, all those fucking stats he came up with there, it's all like moms demand action fucking garbage and stuff like that, dude. So yeah, his dumbass thing, reporting the truth on Twitter, no disinformation, all reporting is verified, views are my own. But you never actually cite sources, dude. But anyway, so like I said, just gonna block that fucking idiot. So it's not worth it, dude. It's not worth it to debate these fucking clowns. It really isn't. Because then you have stupid assholes like that that'll be like, oh, I'm totally gonna fucking win this debate. No, you didn't, dude. You completely lost the fucking debate. You want to sit there and cite bullshit fucking sources without any kind of actual, here's a fucking actual website that's the source material from. Because you're a fucking liar, dude. That's the entire point. And that's the problem with these leftists, dude. Like I said, they can't even answer simple questions. And if they try to answer simple questions, then they'll come up with BS fucking meme stats, is what it is. Instead of actual crime rates, per capita, by city, by state, et cetera, et cetera. They'll give you the state comparison to try to blame the Republican Party, but yet they'll never actually give you the actual overall thing, is what it is. So, yeah, it's a bunch of shit all the way around, dude. I'm fucking sick and tired of it. I'm sick and tired of these fucking people. We just need a goddamn national divorce in this country, is what it is. We really just need a civil war, is what it is, dude. / purge style event, and just fucking finish it off finally once and for all, dude. Whoever comes out, comes out. Whoever doesn't, doesn't. And just do what needs to be fucking done already. And then we can all be cool for a while. So, anyway, I don't know. Like I said, I'm pretty sick and tired of it, though. And this dude won nothing, by the way. He thinks he won something. It's like, oh, I see you got your leftist fucking troll bots that are coming at me and stuff like that. Like, okay, buddy, sure thing. Don't give a fuck, dude. This is honestly, by the way, why I and other people don't tend to interact with these jackasses on Twitter, dude. Because it's not worth it. Because then you get into a fucking 2-hour, 3-hour, 4-hour debate, whatever it is, with these fucking morons. And what happens is you never come out changing anyone's mind. Either side, dude. It's just basically this person is so indoctrinated to leftists at this point. They hate Republican Party, obviously, is what it is. Which, again, I'm not going to sit here and say that, depending on where it's at, what city it's in, what state it's in, whatever, that there's not bad Republicans. There obviously are, dude. There's a lot of rhinos out there and stuff that are also gun control They're also gun grabbers and for gun control is what it is. And the problem is when you have people voting down ticket and stuff like that, you're sometimes voting for the wrong people is what it is, man. And the issue becomes, though, is to sit there and try to claim it's a one-party issue when it's politicians in general is what it is. It's lifetime career politicians is what the real issue is, dude. It's why you need term limits across the board in all 50 states at this point, and recall voting on top of that is what it is then. As well as auto DQs from office. Like, seriously, anybody running on a platform to disarm you should be disqualified on the spot, man. If they're running on any kind of gun control platform, they're done from the fucking running at that point. Same thing with anti-life people, dude. If you're sitting there running on a pro-abortion platform, you're fucking done. And it's as simple as that, really. So, anyway, but, yeah, it's just fucking ridiculous is what it is, and it's just stupid people being stupid and thinking they can get one over on you and stuff like that, and just never bringing, like, real facts is what it is, dude. Honestly, too, what's funny to me, too, as well, is given how long it took that guy to do that shit, because what was it? It was about, we've been here for almost an hour now, and I started out this, he had not replied back to me at all, and then he replied back to me in, like, a 5-minute time span with, like, 5 or 6 tweets is what it was. So that means he basically spent the last half hour after I called his ass out on that stuff to most likely go do Google searches and be like, I guarantee what he did was he went to Google and was like, what are the top 10 highest murder rate states or whatever the case be and stuff like that. And then probably grab like the top fucking searches what it was, which is all bullshit. Because obviously when you look at those things, especially with Google done and stuff, dude, it is algorithmic that Google is going to put things like Mom's Demand Action or Bloomberg sites, every town, stuff like that, or Giffords, etc., at the fucking top of the search bars and stuff, dude. So it's most likely him going to Bloomberg, every town, Giffords, MDA, whatever it is, dude, site that comes up first there. And it's like, okay, let me go ahead and copy and paste this now. Haha, I got him. You didn't get shit, bro. You're a fucking idiot. You were a fucking idiot leftist when I called you out the first time, and you've proven to me that you're a fucking idiot leftist this entire time because you never responded back with the actual facts of the fucking matter, dude. All you responded back with was a bunch of bullshit tweets that were a bunch of fucking statistics with no fucking source material for sites sourced from to show where you actually got the shit from. I could sit there right now and go to some site or whatever, dude, make up some template and put a bunch of fucking names in it and then be like, oh, 2023 murder capital stuff on top of it, dude, and make that as a fucking meme, basically. That doesn't make it fucking reality. It's something you made up. And I guarantee in most cases that's how fucking Bloomberg and company do that shit, dude, is what it is. It's just like their whole 81% thing when they were talking about Texas a couple years ago getting constitutional carry, and they're like, 81% of people support gun bans and stuff like that, or whatever it was. It's like, how is it put now? It was like 81% of people support like gun control or something like that. I think is how they put it or something. And then when you actually broke down the stats that they got that from, it was like some leftist college, like some 2,000 person college they went to or whatever there, and talked to like 500 students that were like 18 to 21 or so, give or take, and asked them the question of like, do you support background checks? And they were like, yeah. And that's where they got the 81% stat from, is what it was. And that's what I'm saying. Like when you look at those polls and stuff like that, dude, it's all bullshit polls. And that's what I'm saying. Most of them stats and stuff like that, dude, are complete bullshit. Because especially if you do it from mainstream media, dude, it can be proven the fucking mainstream media is a bunch of lying assholes. They've been lying assholes forever. They have been lying to our fucking faces for years about everything, dude. Operation Mockingbird in the 1970s can prove that. It's why you can go on YouTube right now and just look up, like, I don't know if it's actually typed under Operation Mockingbird or something else like maybe Mockingbird Media or something like that. And you just have different videos, and it might not even be on YouTube anymore, it'd be like Rumble or something like that. But yeah, you can look up different videos on these sites like that, dude, where it's like, Mockingbird Media or something like that. And it's literally newscaster after newscaster after newscaster, like 20 in a fucking row, all reading from the same exact script. All being like, and we've experienced our 169th mass shooting this year. Where are the statistics for that? Where did they happen at? What do you describe as a mass shooting? Etc., etc. That's the question you need to be asked and answered right now, dude. But none of these people actually give you the answers like that, dude. So it's a bunch of shit entirely, dude. I still want to do debates against people, though, but of course, if you had this fucking clown on there trying to debate me and stuff like that, it wouldn't even matter because we would never get anything accomplished. I'd just be yelling back at him and he'd be yelling back at me is what it is then. So it would definitely have to be somebody that's like moderates is what it would be, dude, on things. But it's just fucking dumb is what it is, dude. Like, it's just made up crap is what it is in most cases, these people, dude. And like I said, I find it very convenient that he basically spent like a half hour going and doing like quote unquote research of just like Google searching a bunch of stuff is what it was to try to like, be like, oh, I totally got him. You didn't get nothing, dude. You wasted a half hour of your time to basically reply to somebody on Twitter that asked you a simple question is what it was. And by the way, I'd like to point something out on that one too, on the whole thing of that Ford guy. He never did break it down by cities, dude. He never fucking did. I asked him the simple question twice. I said, how many cities in Alabama are run by Democrat mayors? 2 fucking times. Not once in any of those replies did he actually give me the actual fact of that matter, dude. Not once. He could have spent that same exact time, that same half hour or so, looking that up himself and being like, well, there's like, what you consider major cities in this state are like 10 or 20 or whatever it is. And it's like, of them, like 17 are run by Democrats or 17 are run by Republicans or something like that, whatever the case be, or maybe it's like, 8, 10, and then 2 or something independents or something like that, Like, you could have given me real answers like that, dude, and we could have just walked our own ways at that point. I'd be like, okay, cool, thanks for proving my point at that point then. And that's what it is. But no, he wants to sit there, and this is the thing I love about the left is what it is, dude, is they want to sit there and try to get one over on you every fucking chance that they get. Because they always want that fucking placate, dude. They always want that fucking pedestal stand is what it is. They never get it, dude. They never get it. And this is the problem. When they think that their moral superiority to anyone when they're not is the biggest problem with our country right now. I'm not saying the Republican Party is any better, honestly, on that one. I hate them both personally. And I think, truthfully, honestly, like, and that's the truth of the matter, dude. Like, when you start looking into things, I think the biggest problem in our country right now, it's not even like, and again, what's funny to me is how just like that Ford guy or whatever was sitting there talking about how the first thing he replied back to me about was like the gerrymandering of the Republican Party or whatever there in Alabama. Yet they'll never talk about when it comes to the breakdown of your congressional districts and stuff like that in these states. When you have like a whole bunch of them in a major city there, dude, it's all run by Democrats. That's why I called that shit on Twitter the other day. I was looking up a couple different ones here recently. I thought it was 11 districts that Columbus had. It's actually 12. 11 of 12 are run by Democrats. Or no, sorry, it's wait. Okay, no, wait. 10 of 12. That was for Cleveland. It is 10 of 11 down in Columbus that are run by Democrats. The other one is that David Dobos guy who was a liar and fake being a MIT graduate and stuff like that. Should be out of our state house based on that alone is what it is. He's a lying sack of shit. We don't want him here anyway is what it is, man. I guarantee he's going to be a one-termer based on that shit alone. So you have 10 of 11 seats down in Columbus run by Democrats in our General Assembly. Then you have Cleveland that has 12. 10 of them are run by Democrats. The only other two that are run by Republicans are Brian Stewart, who's behind the House Joint Resolution to basically force the 60% threshold for changing our state constitution then. And the other one is this Daramichu guy, I think that's what his name is. But yeah, the entire point of the matter is it's like, it's just a bunch of stupid shit is what it is, dude. And it's like, that's the problem with the Democrats, dude. They are such hive mind and like even like that, right? Like that right there. Like you had that Ford guy respond back to me, and then you had like multiple other leftist people basically retweeting stuff and being like, ha ha ha, Ford got him. Ford got him. Ford got the network. It's like, you didn't get shit, you idiots. You're just proving my hive mind theory is correct at this point because you have a fucking piece of a functioning brain between all of you. You each have like a little nugget of fucking brain capacity when it takes like 50 of you to come together and actually form a correct thought is what it is. So anyway, liberalism is a mental disorder in this country, dude, and it needs to be treated as such at this point. It really, really does. Like I said, I don't know what the solution is, honestly, at this point in history, but I think we're just coming inches closer every day, is what it is, to the Second American Civil War finally kicking off in this nation. And whether it be a Civil War / Balkanization event, whether it be a Civil War that leads directly to an American Revolution, whether it be all those things combined into one, whether it be, as Vivek Ramaswamy wants to put it, a national divorce, which, you can make it seem like it's going to be peaceful, dude, but there never is. It never is, dude. It's going to be bloody as fuck when it's all said and done. Not something I personally want to see happen, but honestly, like, with the way it's going anymore, man, it's just like, I mean, it's already bloody in the streets at this point with many of these things, dude. So it's like, what more is it going to look like, honestly? You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. I think in a just world, honestly, we would just start walling off all these Democrat-run cities, making them like city states or whatever, or no, they don't have any power outside of them is what it is. Like actually do like a wall off of them is what it is. And then they just, sink or swim on their own is what it ends up being then. They hold no power to state level. They hold no power any place outside of their like little X amount of blocks or whatever it is there that their city makes up and shit. They have their own little functioning government inside the wall and shit like that's what it is. And you see how quickly they either descend into complete chaos and kill each other, or they actually come out as functioning government, then is what it is. And you actually have a functioning, society within them is what it is then. and maybe they're going to be better off in the long run. Most likely, I would say, truthfully, if that happened, if we actually did that and stuff like that, let's go ahead and say 25 major cities across America. So it'd be like Columbus, Ohio is a great example of it. That could be city state. New York City be another one. So it'd be like the 5 boroughs essentially. So those would be 2. You'd have Los Angeles, California. You would have Detroit, Michigan would be its own city state then. Actually, no, not Detroit. Let's do Lansing. Lansing because it's the capital there. So you got Lansing, Michigan, Columbus, Ohio, New York City, Los Angeles, California, Seattle, Washington, Portland, Oregon. I'm trying to think what other major cities out there would be pretty good to do in. Whatever the capital of New Jersey is at this point. Birmingham, Alabama would be another one. Because that's obviously the Democrat one right now. So let's see those ones. Let's do New Orleans, Louisiana, Austin, Texas. And for this experiment, let's go ahead and do 2 in Texas. Let's do Austin, Texas, and Houston, Texas. Because they're both Democrat-run hellholes, what it is right now. So I'm not sure how many of those right now, but yeah, basically start with those 10, 12, whatever it is I mentioned right now. And then go from there with 15 others is what it would be. Make those all into city states and stuff like that. Do let's go ahead and say a 60-month period. So that'd be about 2.5 years, right? So in 60 months, build the infrastructure, build the walls around these places like that, create their city states is what it'd be, and give them 2.5 years and see exactly how badly they are, or see exactly how many people try to escape within the first 60 days is what it'd be, man. Because that's another thing too. I think there'd be people trying to escape in those places within probably the first 24 hours, honestly, truthfully speaking. You pretty much have a mass exodus of that shit. And I think, honestly, truthfully, the thing would be sell it to them. Sell it to them good, man. Be like, hey, here's the deal. Y'all want your leftist utopia. We're going to give it to you. Here you go. You live in this place for this long. And if nothing else, be have it be some kind of a prize at the end, maybe even, where it's okay, cool, you know what? If you can successfully prove to us that this actually is a thing, whatever the case be, we'll give you a seat of power, guaranteed, in our state legislature after the fact. And I guarantee you that almost none of these places would be successful, dude. There might be 1 out of 25, honestly, that would be semi-successful. I would think, honestly, truthfully, within the first probably 72 hours to a week or so, you would have the other 24 fall to warlords. And it would basically be the Chaz 2.0 at that point, where you'd have a Raz Simone walking around with an AK-47 and stuff like that, and a bunch of his crew with firearms and stuff like that, basically controlling the populace. It would be then. Because no matter what, at the end of the day, you're always going to have criminals run a criminal, dude. You're always going to have the strong prey upon the weak. You're always going to have the weakest among people tend to be the biggest statist bitches in this country, or any country for that matter, that are begging for more government. They're always the people who are, in most cases, the dumbest of everybody is what it is, who want to sit there and be like, but this is a thing, and this is a thing, and this is a thing. So, I don't know, man. It is what it is. Like I said, I don't really have time to bullshit with people. Honestly, truthfully, if I had thought better with that Ford guy, I probably should have just left it where it was to begin with. Been like, yeah, I should have just left it right there with that second one and not even responded back to him the first time around. I've just been like, okay, he's just going to straight up give me some bullshit or whatever the case be, typical leftist thing, whatever. But I'm glad I kind of did respond back to him because, again, it proves my point of him just making up fake shit then or whatever the case be, or grabbing just taking a half hour of his own time or whatever, just wasting time there and just grabbing the first search results of stuff like that is what it is. Actually, you know what? Just to prove my point on that one, just to prove the point that I was trying to make this entire time, though, let's go ahead and look it up ourselves right now. We're going to do this Google search right now, dude. Top 10 crime cities in United States. Okay, so just to make sure that we're proving this in real time right now, we are doing a Google search right now of this whole thing. So we're looking up top 10 crime cities in the U.S. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Right there, dude. Proving my point right there. Where it's all leftist run places that the guy never mentioned, by the way. Actually, let me go ahead and look that up as a different thing. Let's go ahead and look up top 10 crime states in the U.S. That's probably where he got them stats from, is my guess, honestly. Uh-huh. There you go. Right there. Top 10 crime states in the U.S. Alaska. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, that's exactly what he did then. This is exactly what that motherfucker did, dude. He Google searched top 10 crime states in the U.S., and that's what he fucking gave me as a response then. Let's see. Who is the one doing that, though? Property Club is supposedly the site that came from. Okay. Well, let's see. Let's go ahead and read some of this actually and see how they break this down for these red states and stuff like that. So let's see, because they obviously have Alaska as number one. Most dangerous state in the U.S. is Alaska. Has the highest combined violent and property crime rate out of any state. A populace of 736,081 people. Alaska's crime rate is 32.14 per 1,000. So 32 people out of 1,000 are criminals or victims. I'm not sure what that would be. But that would be in 2022. So it's making the state the largest or highest crime rate. Said aggravated assault is one of the most common types of crime in Alaska. And that's what I mentioned before. It's, so much downtrodden stuff and stuff like that. And by the way, a lot of those Native Alaskan people are also hardcore drunks. Is what it is. So that makes sense why it'd be aggravated assault then, because they're just beating the shit out of people or beating the shit out of their spouses and stuff like that. So it'd be like domestic violence and, what would then be labeled as ag assault and stuff like that. This is a 4,222 incidents reported. Sexual assault is a major problem in Alaska as well. By the way, the one thing I do remember A&E doing, they were doing a show. It was like Alaska PD or something like that a few years back, before 2020 rioting and things. And one of the things that they were talking about was how many sex offenders are actually living in Alaska now, because they were trying to leave the, lower 48 is what it was, to then go to Alaska and basically disappear is what it was then. So they already had a rap sheet of sexual abuse and stuff like that and sexual assault crimes and stuff before they even moved to Alaska then. But anyway, so you got sexual assault, major problem in Alaska with over 1,132 incidents reported in 2022. And then you got New Mexico, talks about that being a thing. Again, we're talking about New Mexico, an actual state that is directly tied to border violence in most cases. Tennessee, most major cities in Tennessee are Democrat run, by the way. Same thing with Arkansas, which is also very poor, by the way, on top of that. And what's funny to me, too, by the way, is how a lot of these are tied to poverty more than anything. So then we got Arizona, another border state. That's all border violence. Louisiana is another one of these ones that's just super fucking poor. But what's interesting is, as it says here, cities like Shreveport, Baton Rouge, and New Orleans, violent crimes such as murder as well are well above average. As of 2022, violent crime in New Orleans is 150% higher than the national average. Again, New Orleans. And who runs New Orleans? I guarantee you when I click on this and I add in mayor, it's going to come up fucking Democrat, dude. Or actually, I can just look down here and apply come up with mayor. Mayor LaToya Cantrell. And who is LaToya Cantrell? Oh, shocker. She is a fucking Democrat Party member. That's LaToya Cantrell right there, dude. So, yeah. It's not red states, dude. It's Democrat-run blue shitholes and hell pockets in red states that are a fucking problem. Same thing with Missouri, dude. Why is Missouri's crime rate so high? Let's think about that right now, shall we? St. Louis, a Democrat-run hell pocket whose congresswoman is Cori Bush, a BLM terrorist. Let's see, South Carolina. Let's see what's about South Carolina here. So, a population of a little over 5 million. South Carolina has a crime rate of 5.4 per 1,000 people compared to the national average of 4 per 1,000. Violent crime in the state are high, with almost 22,000 cases of robbery being reported in 2020. Again, that alone in of itself, by the way, how can you report that as 2020 stats, dude? Because 2020, you saw the shit all jack up at that point. And then continues on and says murders in 2020 were 549. How many of those murders of the 549 people can be directly tied to the BLM riots of 2020, dude. Seriously. BLM and Antifa riots of 2020 kicked that national average up like fucking crazy, bro. That would be like putting Kenosha, Wisconsin on there and being like, in 2020, Kenosha, Wisconsin saw a violent uptick in all kinds of crime. By the way, for those who don't know, Kenosha, Wisconsin is the city that Kyle Rittenhouse defended himself in against 3 pieces of shit and had to kill 2 of them in self-defense, and is now suing the third for emotional distress and a bunch of other stuff, being that asshole Gage Grosskreutz now, which I'm sorry, Kyle, but you should have been doing that for the last 2 years, buddy. The day after you were acquitted, sir, you should have immediately been suing the shit out of everybody. You should have been suing Gage's bitch ass. You should have been suing Huber's family. You should have been suing Rosenbaum's family. You should have been suing the mayor of fucking Kenosha, the city of fucking Kenosha, the Kenosha PD, Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers for not bringing National Guard in, that because they were all basically Trump people that he was going to be. It was I shouldn't say Trump people. It was Trump telling Evers, being like, "Hey, we can give you National Guard if you need them, dude." And he's like, "No, we're good." And that right there is why Tony Evers should be in jail, by the way, right now, not as Wisconsin governor. So, yeah, Evers should have been one of many people got sued there. You should have sued the state of Wisconsin and a few other people as well on top of that, dude. So, and actually, I would say at least 2 other police departments on that one, because I'm pretty sure that one of those is a sheriff's department. So you should have sued that sheriff's department as well on that one. And then I would even go as far as to say 2 other ones, since you have both Huber and Grosskreutz being tied to BLM, Antifa, and other communist organizations and stuff like that. Sue all those people too as well, man. Sue Black Lives Matter, sue Antifa, sue any other communist group that Gage has ties to, etc. So it'd be actually at the end of the day, it wouldn't even be 10 lawsuits, it'd be about probably 20 or so, give or take. But yeah, that's what Kyle should have been doing this whole time, dude. He should have been suing the shit out of everybody at that point, dude. You know, don't be going out there like that. I think the worst thing Rittenhouse did, man, and I'll give that to him because he's a young guy and stuff, dude. He was 17 when the whole thing happened. He was like 19, I think, by the time the trial finished up and stuff like that. And he wanted to use the little bit of fame that he had, the fleeting 15 minutes of fame he had, to basically go out there and make some bank, is what it was, and do some appearances and be like, hey, I'm famous now, kind of thing is what it is. I don't blame him on that one, again. We all want to be famous, I think, in some cases. And the thing was, though, that as he was doing those things, he should have been having lawyers on retainer to bring these lawsuits against these fucking people and these states and these cities and stuff like that. And that's my biggest problem with Rittenhouse right now, in a nutshell, dude, is that he wasn't doing that kind of thing. And I'm not even saying it was him that had to do it, man. Like, his mom should have been the one, being like, hey, Kyle, who do you need us to sue right now? Because the thing is, it's not like he doesn't have his mom and his sisters that could have been helping him out on that one, dude. Like, meanwhile, you have Kyle going to these events or whatever the case be, these speaking engagements and stuff to make a little bit of money or whatever to pay for the lawyers and shit. And then meanwhile, you got mom and the sisters helping with the lawyers, doing the lawyer stuff is what it is, and making a list of like, hey, here is a list of who we need to sue and what order we need to sue them in is what it is then. And bring these lawsuits immediately then. So, yeah, I think it's a big fail all the way around is what it is. I'm glad Kyle is finally suing somebody now. Unfortunately, it took him being sued by 2 different people for him to finally bring this counter lawsuit against Gage Grosskreutz is what it is. So, yeah, it's just a sad situation all the way around, though. But anyway, going back to our thing here, we were talking about 2020 there. We got sort of sidetracked there with the 10 things here, which, again, you got South Carolina being the 2020 for murder capita and stuff like that is what it is there for that list and stuff. And then let's see, we got South Dakota, population of a little under 1 million. South Dakota's crime rate for such a low populated area, South Dakota's violent crime is 5.5 per 1,000 residents 2021. So it'll be right after 2020 riots then. So making the changes of becoming a victim 1 in 198, making the chances of becoming 190 people. So basically, this is why you carry guns, by the way. Don't be a victim, dude. Be your own first responder. It says crimes like murder and rape are higher than the national average, with assaults being over 3,000 per incidence in 2021. In addition, South Dakota has the second highest rate for drunk driving arrests in the nation and the highest number of drunk driving related fatalities. Okay, so again, this is kind of false misnomers on this one, dude, because right there, when you actually look into the actual stat, like you can look at a stat all day, man, and make up bullshit on it is what it is, dude. But when you actually look at things like this that breaks it down by what it is, it's talking about most of these fatalities are happening by drunk driving. So it's not even murder rates, dude. It's not even murder stuff. It's not even murder capita and stuff like that by firearm related deaths and stuff. It's drunk driving deaths, dude. It's people being killed by drunk drivers, etc. And this is why I hate the left so much, man, because again, they'll sit there and make up bullshit fucking stats and stuff like that, dude. In fact, I'm going to tweet this whole thing out in a little bit here and call that motherfucker out in it, and that's what it is, dude. So, I'm going to call him out for being the sack of shit he is what it is. Sack of shit liar. That's what they all are, dude. They're all sacks of shit liars, is what it is. So, and then, yeah, when you look at Michigan there, what is Michigan's area, dude? It's all the fucking lower half. It's all Democrat run areas, man. Cities like Detroit, Kalamazoo, and Saginaw, which are all Democrat run, by the way, led the state in violent crime 2021. There were reported 14,509 murders in Detroit alone, far outranking other similarly sized cities. That is fucking insane, dude. 14,500 people in a Democrat run hell pocket that is Detroit, Michigan, dude. This is what I'm saying, man. This is why you can't say it's red states, dude. Because when you're looking at them and they're run by leftist fucking governors, they're not red states anymore. And I'd like to point something out too, by the way. In the past 7 days now, that piece of shit Gretchen Whitmer, who was governor when all that was happening, by the way, in that leftist run hellhole, has signed in gun controls now. Red flag laws, universal background checks, safe storage laws. Do nothing to combat criminals. Do everything to disarm American citizens in your state, bitch. It's fucking disgusting, man. So fucking sick and tired of it. Anyway. I'm just sick and tired of all of them, man. I really am. I wish we could just go back to an old way of society, dude. Just everybody doing their own thing and fuck the government, basically. That's what it is. Like all the way around. In a perfect world, that's what it would be, man. We'd just be doing our own thing and no government tell us what the fuck to do is what it is. You know, we want to plant something on our land, we can do so. We want to catch rainwater, we can do so. We want to go fishing wherever, we can do so. Don't need no licensing, don't need no nothing from the fucking, big daddy government is what it is, man. So, anyway. Actually, that would be something I was thinking about for my 2026 run if we actually are still a functioning country at that point when I run for governor of Ohio. Fishing licensing and stuff like that, as well as hunting licenses. Because you have to re-up them every year is what it is, or every couple of years is what it is, depending on which one it is. Which is wrong to me, especially with the price of them and stuff. There should be a lifetime across the board, man. Because the weird thing about Ohio is, especially when it comes to, like, I think it's fishing licenses specifically, if you're over the age of, like, I think it's 65 or 70 or something, you can basically get a lifetime card for, like, a couple of dollars or something. And it's like, why isn't that just across the board for in-state residents, dude? With maybe even having the fees waived for that matter, So, I mean, I kind of understand, like, the whole, like, licensing aspect of things, monetarily wise, because it basically allows for fish and wildlife officers to get paid is what it is in some cases. But it also allows for, specifically, I know here in Ohio, I forget which city area it is and stuff like that, in one of the major parks and stuff, they do a trout run every year where they're actually stocking different lakes and rivers and shit with them. And you have to have that money paid somehow to buy those fish is what it is. So I kind of get the licensing system from that aspect of things. But the thing of it is, like, it's sort of the same thing going to, on the flip side of things with the hunting license for, like, deer or whatever the case be, where it's just bullshit, dude. And I kind of get, like, why the system was put in place to begin with, because it's like, yeah, you don't want, like, over hunting or whatever the case be, and then you have, quote unquote, like, poaching and shit, where it's like people taking like 50 or 60 of them or whatever the case be, and that's why you have, like, limitation and things like that, because you want to have, like, a functioning population down the line, 10, 20 years down the road and stuff like that for the next generation to hunt is what it is then. But I don't know. I feel like, truthfully, there could be a different thing done entirely And I think the problem is we're not doing that as a country right now because we're just letting these same old, antiquated laws in most cases that are anywhere from 50 to 100 something years old right now that have been put in place by the people who were never the founders of this nation, basically telling us what to do and controlling our lives with BS regulation and stuff like that. Whereas in reality, the things that our founders put into in the Bill of Rights and the U.S. Constitution, that's how we should be living as a nation right now, dude. It shouldn't be government overreach. It shouldn't be government tyranny. It shouldn't be, government police state and stuff like that. It should be people living free and whatever they want to have, they can have. If they want to manufacture full auto, they should be able to do that. If they want to have fucking hand grenades and RPGs and shit, they should be able to have those kind of things, dude. Without government sticking their dick up your ass and telling you, oh no, you're going to have a tax stamp for this dangerous ordinance or this dangerous device or whatever it is. So that we can know every single thing that you have and be able to search your fucking house at any given time and take your shit if we want to take it. And deny your Fourth Amendment right to illegal search and seizure is what it is. Which, by the way, for those who don't know that, if you ever get a tax stamp for any kind of firearm or any kind of like suppressor or anything like that, dude, say goodbye to your Fourth Amendment rights with legal search and seizure because they don't exist anymore. That's why I will never have a tax stamp in this country, dude. That's why I have been actively for the past 4 years now that I started in this fight. I have been trying my best to dissuade people from getting on those lists, dude. Because all you're doing is turning yourself into a future confiscated person. If the government wants to confiscate your shit, they can. And not only that, it is also at the same time justifying the National Firearms Act 1934, which has been unconstitutional since its creation in 1934, as the last remnants of prohibition. It is the one thing that still exists from that time period of history during Prohibition era is the NFA, dude. It is unconstitutional, has been forever. It should have gone the way of everything else the second that the 18th Amendment was repealed. Should have been done away with right then and there. Should have been repealed right along with that thing about consumption of alcohol and stuff like that. So, anyway, but yeah, that's pretty much what we're at for the day, though. Like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and tweet out that that thing from earlier to prove my point, and basically call that leftist guy out for being a liar that he actually is, dude, is what it is. So, anyway, I 100% won that debate, dude. I always do. Just like anybody on the right does, because we actually come with real logic and facts, and we'll look up stuff and prove our point is what it is. That these people are just looking up BS stats is what it is, dude. Or they're just looking for some graph or whatever it is with like 10 fucking cities and being like, haha, got them because they're all Republican. Not mentioning how here's the actual source cited for this. And this is how you actually got these BS stats in most cases. Because it was all like 2020 riot season and shit like that, dude, during the last presidential election year, by the way. So, anyways, I'll be back later tonight. Most likely, as long as Honda does his Gay Frog chat, we'll be on that with the panel and stuff like that. And I'll probably be talking some more about this topic tonight, actually, a little bit, if I can get a chance to chime in on it and whatnot. Because I kind of want to see what the guy's opinion is on that one and basically be like, how do you guys feel about that? Like somebody trying to get one over on you like that. And they'd be like, yeah, it's bullshit. I would assume anyway. Because I've talked to them a few times about that in back chats, and they've always told me they're like, yeah, it's all a bunch of BS that these people try to pull, man. So, anyways, that's about it for today, though. I need to get done with that fucking Florida story one of these days, but unfortunately, we never did get a chance to do that yet. I think Alabama came up too much is what it was, though. But actually, while we're still here, we're gonna look up some stuff. Oh, actually, that was one thing I did want to point out, by the way. Speaking of leftist cities and corrupt ass states and stuff like that, dude. Before we go today, you got current Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker literally paying off state Supreme Court judges. Illinois Supreme Court denies motion of recusal in gun ban challenge for judges who received $1 million each from anti-gun billionaire governor J.B. Pritzker. Such a bunch of shit, dude, entirely. Such a bunch of shit. So, yeah, both of those people should be off that state Supreme Court right now just based on the fact they have ties to Pritzker like that, dude. So, anyways, but let's see if we can get any more out of Alabama. See what's up here. Okay, we got CNN about an hour ago. It looks like latest news. AP also has it up there. So let's go to the mainstreams right now and see what they got to say about it. Let's see. You got CNN saying a mass shooting tied to a teen birthday party leaves 4 dead and a multitude injured. We got AP, Alabama mass shooting, 4 dead, multiple injured at a birthday party shooting. So, yeah, it looks like about the latest right there. 48 minutes ago, Fox News, Alabama mass shooting. Victims include Jacksonville State football player, football recruit. Phil Dowell was in attendance, was to attend Jacksonville State University on a football scholarship. This is one of those killed in the mass shooting in Dadeville, Alabama, Saturday. Was reportedly a high school athlete who was headed to Jacksonville State on a football scholarship this fall. Phil Dowell, a senior, Dowdell, a senior at high school due to graduate in mere weeks, was shot and killed while celebrating his sister Alexis's 16th birthday. His grandmother, Annette Allen, told the Montgomery Advisor he was very, very humble child, never messed with anyone, always had a smile on his face, Allen said, noting her grandson's $1 million smile. Allen told the newspaper multiple teens were shot at the party, as well as the kid's grandmother, who sustained 2 gunshot wounds. Everybody's grieving, she said. So Dowell was identified as one of the deceased victims by Ben Hayes, who is a senior pastor at the Dadeville First Baptist Church, team chaplain of Dadeville High School and chaplain of Dadeville Police. Hayes told Alabama.com that the kid, a Dadeville football player, had recently committed to Jacksonville State University to play wide receiver. That is a loss, dude, for real. That really is a loss. That's too bad, man. That is too bad. So, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it was something like that, where it was, being that it was his sister's birthday and shit like that, it was something where, again, going by the fact that this was most likely a gang attack and stuff like that kind of thing, it was probably you had a group of people coming in there, a group of dudes, and maybe some chicks with them or whatever the case be, trying to, crash the party, essentially what it would be. And he was probably one of the first ones to step up and be like, bro, you're not invited here. Get the fuck out of here, kind of thing, whatever the case be. And that was probably the altercation that led up to the actual shooting itself, was what it most likely was. So I'd be willing to bet that he was probably the first victim in this case. And it was most likely something where, in retaliation, the guy was like, fuck you, bro, or whatever the case be, and then just pulls out a gun and just pops his ass. And then probably, mom or whoever was standing like pretty close by him at the time, and they're just like, again, kept firing or whatever, and hit her twice then as well. So, yeah, just a tragic, tragic loss is what it is, dude. I feel for that woman and her family, honestly. I really do. Nobody deserves to have that happen to them, dude, especially not where you're celebrating your daughter's 16th birthday. You're just trying to chill out and have a good time with some friends and family and stuff like that, dude. Just fucked up is what it is. So that's why I totally agree with what Van Drake said a while ago. Van Drake TV. He's one of the guys that's done some shirts and them and stuff like that. And he was saying where he's at there in Illinois and stuff like that. That's why he wouldn't go to these black parties anymore, is what it is, dude, because you never know what's going to happen at them. And he's right about that, Just go to celebrate a fucking friend's 16th birthday party and dead, potentially. It's ridiculous is what it is, man. So, yeah, I will say this, though. If you haven't watched AK Nation News, check that dude out. He's a good dude. He gets it in most cases, is what it is. Him and I had a little bit of a back and forth, though, when I was on this panel the one time about, it's not all just one race doing the crime and stuff. There are others out there doing shit, too, as well. But I think the biggest problem with that was in that particular stream, he was just trying to basically say, hey, this is what's happening in America with this, certain particular, people is what it is then. them Sun people and whatnot. So anyway, that being said, what's funny to me is honestly on that one, like when my house was robbed almost 2 years ago, and they, stole that firearm of mine. Pretty sure it was two white guys that stole my shit. That's what it was, dude. They still haven't caught those guys, by the way, or recovered my firearm for that matter. In nearly 2 years, it's been specifically about 21 months now, and yeah, it fucking sucks, dude. It really does. Like, still don't have the money to replace that gun. Still have never heard word one about it. Most likely never going to see it again. And knowing that the sanctity of my home is now a crime scene forever, knowing that the bedroom that I sleep in every night is a crime scene forever, has definitely led to, continued stress and everything else like that. And did not help when last year I was, slandered and defamed by members of the 2A community is what it was here on YouTube. So again, going back and reiterating that from the earlier stream and stuff like that, I expect an apology by May 31st. And if I don't get one, expect to be served with papers for lawsuits, people. So come June 1st, because I'm not going to put up with it anymore, is what it is. I'm sick and tired of it. And the only way that I will ever be able to get over this is with one of those two things, an apology or lawsuits. So anyway, that being said, that's where we're at for the day. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I will be back in another one at some point in the future, discussing some things here. So most likely we'll be talking about the Florida teacher in the next one, probably tomorrow at some point. But other than that, that's where we're at for the day. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And like I said, I will see y'all in the next one.